Hey everyone, Lightning Spirit 78 here. Welcome back to some more of Let's Play Pokemon Leaf Green. Last episode we defeated Koga, the Fuchsia City Gym Leader. And in this episode, oh boy, we're gonna take on the Safari Zone. Now just a warning, this episode, if it goes out as I think it will probably be one of the longest things on my channel, and probably one of the most edited things on my channel, so expect a lot of things going on in this episode. And we already started off great by going to the wrong house. Woot! Okay, the Safari Zone is actually up there. But how do we get up there? Will we just loop around the city? Eventually, we go into here. Now, you need at least $500 to, participate in the Safari Zone. Once in the Safari Zone, only you are allowed in there, and a special kind of and you will be armed with a special kind of Pokeball called the Safari Balls. Now let me explain. Actually, explaining would be better if I got into a battle. Okay, we have this Rhyhorn here. Basically, there's a few things that you could do. You could throw a ball to catch it. Probably won't work. You could throw a rock. It'll make it more likely to catch, but it'll also make it more likely for the Pokemon to flee. That's another thing about the Safari Zone. Pokemon will flee. Now there's throwing bait. It'll make the Pokemon much harder to catch, but it'll make it way less likely to flee, giving you more opportunities. With that said, that's how the mechanics of the Safari Zone go. You have exactly 600 steps to navigate all of the Safari Zone and get to the back of the zone. Now let's go over the long list of Pokemon that you can find here in the Safari Zone. First off here, as you can see, we have Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn is a pretty decent rock-around type. It takes some pretty nice moves, has some nice attack. Overall, pretty nice. Its evolved form, Rhydon, fun fact, was actually the first Pokemon ever created, and is expected to be, at this point in age, probably at least 20 years old. Next Pokemon that you have here is Execute. Execute is actually a grass poison type. It's a pretty decent Pokemon, has some nice special attacks, some pretty decent defenses. All around, I would recommend picking this one up if you don't have a Psychic type and you're in need of a Grass type. Next Pokemon here is Venonat. Venonat is a bug poison type, and it's pretty fragile overall, but it learns some interesting bug type moves, so if you want to try and experiment, by all means, go ahead. Next up here we have Nidorino, the evolved form of Nidoran male. Pretty decent. Like I said, I recommend it over Nidoran female. This is basically the evolved form, and you can catch it and then evolve it into a Nidoking with a Moonstone, so pretty decent. Nidorina, basically the same as Nidorino, just better defenses overall, less attack. And it can evolve into Nidoqueen with the help of a Moonstone. The next Pokemon here is Parasect, the evolved form of Paras. Pretty decent HM slave that learns Spore, so it can help put enemies to sleep, but overall it's pretty fragile, doesn't have that good of an attack, so really I wouldn't recommend it. Now, if you're playing Fire Red only, the next Pokemon you have here is Scyther. Scyther here is a pretty decent attacker, and when fully evolved, it's a great Pokemon that has some pretty decent attacks and some pretty decent defenses. However, since you can't really evolve it yet, I would say go for it if you want a pretty good attacker, but not a good defender. And if you're playing Leaf Green only, next up you can find Pinsir. Pinsir here is actually pretty underrated in my opinion. He's a very strong bug type when it comes to physical type moves. He's actually, in my opinion, this generation's Heracross. Really, if you want a strong physical attacker, I'd say Pinsir is the way to go. Next up here, and very rare in the Safari Zone, is Chansey. Now, Chansey is a very good special attack, or special defender. Probably the best special defender in this game. When fully evolved, its HP is at max stat, and its special defense is pretty unbeatable. However, its physical defense is barely existent, so don't send it out against physical attackers. Now we have the next Pokemon here is Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan, pretty decent normal type, pretty good physical attacker, but also has a wide variety of moves, so it can be a special attacker as well. Kangaskhan here, I would highly recommend it because it's something unusual that nobody ever seems to use, and it's pretty decent, can hold up its own in a fight. The next Pokemon that we have here is Tauros. Tauros being a pretty decent physical attacker with a wide variety of moves. It's one of my favorite normal types actually, and I wanted to use it in this playthrough. Tauros I can highly recommend. It's pretty decent in battle, and overall I'd recommend it. However, it's extremely rare, so if you manage to find it, well, then you can use it. The next Pokemon here we have is Venomoth. Venomoth being the evolved form of Venonat. Venomoth, pretty fragile overall, but like Venonat, learns some pretty decent bug-type moves. So yeah, I could recommend it. Also here in the Safari Zone, once you get the ability to surf, I'll go over that in a bit, you can capture, if you're playing Fire Red only, Psyduck. Psyduck is a pretty decent water-type Pokemon that many people think is a Psychic type too because it learns many Psychic-type moves. This is not the case. It's a pretty good special attacker, pretty speedy. Overall, just a nice Pokemon to add to your team if you don't have a water type. The parallel to this in Leaf Green is Slowpoke. Slowpoke here is very, very slow, but a very good defender. And overall, he learns some pretty decent attacks. He's much more of a special attacker, so really I'd kind of recommend him. Also in the Safari Zone, we have Seaking. Now, Seaking can only be got when you get the Super Rod, which can be picked up on Route 12, which we'll get to in this episode. Seaking, he's pretty decent. He's pretty fragile, just like Goldeen, because it is an evolved form. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to try it for something new, go ahead. Finally, here we have Dratini and Dragonair, both decent dragon types, extremely rare if you're using the fishing rod, or a super rod, but if you can actually manage to pick them up, well, go ahead. With that said, oh boy, how many steps do we have left? Not many. Well, now that I've gone over those and I've caught a few Pokemon, we're going to actually do what we came to do here in the Safari Zone besides picking up some Pokemon and collect some items like that Leaf Stone, which will cause Pokemon like Execute to evolve. Alright, now you're probably wondering what is the point of the Safari Zone other than to catch some Pokemon? Well, here we'll be getting our next HM, which will actually lead us into the HM after. The HM that we get after that. There's some really nice items here. I'll be collecting the majority of those off screen along with a lot of Pokemon off screen. Looking at you, Chansey. Looking at you. Here we got another Quick Claw. If I haven't explained before, Quick Claw allows you to go first in battle sometimes. Okay. I'm actually trying to remember how to navigate this place because it's been a very, very long time. One trick in the Safari Zone you could use to stay in one place without maxing out your steps is just by doing this. Barely tapping the control stick, and eventually you'll run into an encounter without taking any steps. Very convenient. Very, very convenient. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go into this house and talk to this dude. That is not the dude I wanted to talk to. The dude that we want to talk to is actually in the house just across that lake there. Come on. Oh, what? Time's up. Okay, well, as you can see, this is what happens when you run out of steps. I will meet you guys back in this area because this is the area we need to get to, just not the correct part of it. So I'll be right back. Okay, now that we're back, as you can see, we are in the right place this time, in the same area as last time, but just north. And that Pokeball contained the gold teeth. Those were the golden dentures that the Warden was missing. So we can return those to him after we're done here. Now, if you somehow make it all the way through the Safari Zone without using up all of your steps, see, I have 40 left, and make it to this house, finally, you're the first person to make it to the secret house. Although I made a campaign for our grand opening, I was getting worried that no one would win our campaign prize. Congratulations, you have won HM03 Surf. Surf will allow you to travel on water, as long as you give it to us, a water type, or maybe even a Snorlax or something. Actually, I will teach this to, if they're all still with me, why can't I use them? I will be teaching this to... Come on, find the darn thing. I will be teaching this to Blastoise, because Blastoise could really use a nice move. So, goodbye, withdraw. Don't really need you, never really used you. And we got Surf. Surf is actually one of those few HM moves that I can highly recommend putting on a Pokemon. And now that we've done that... There we go, time's up. This part of the game is over. Now, off-screen, I will be coming back in there, and I will be probably spending hours in there to catch all of the Pokemon inside. This is where the whole catch-em-all thing is going to be a big pain in the butt. But ignoring that for right now, let's move on to probably the longest stretches of routes in the game. Routes 12 through 15. Really, you could probably just take a Pokemon and fly back to Saffron City at this point, because there's really nothing else to do. But considering I want to cover as much as I can in this playthrough, I want to cover these routes mostly for the experience and to show you guys what's there. Okay, let's get a move on. Alright, now if you come up here, honestly, I don't remember if you get anything from an aid of Professor Oak. It seems you do. Okay, sweet. Well, I think we have probably like 70 by now, so, oh, 69. Why does that number keep popping up? Okay, well, since we have enough Pokemon caught to get this, we can get the experience share. The experience share allows you to attach it to a Pokemon, and they will get experience even if they did not attend the battle. So it's quite nice to use if you're training up a low-level Pokemon. Okay, now here's the deal with these routes. These routes are very time-consuming. They are very long. So here's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to go over the Pokemon that we can find on routes 15 to 12. And then I'm going to speed everything up until we get back to Lavender Town and we can head into Saffron City and end this episode. Because I should probably get started on editing this right away. So, first off, the Pokemon that you can find here on these routes is Ditto. Ditto is a normal type Pokemon that has a unique move that allows it to transform into any Pokemon it sees. Ditto can copy basically all of your opponent's movesets and looks. But really, it's pretty fragile, and most Pokemon come packing with a move that is super effective against their own type anyway, so it could really cause you a problem, and I just wouldn't recommend Ditto. But it is something unique. Next up here we have Pidgeotto, the evolved form of Pidgey. To be honest, like I said, I couldn't really recommend the Pidgey family, but Pidgeotto's not too bad if you need a flying slave, or if you just need a flying type in general, and Fearow and Doduo just weren't your thing. Now if you're playing Fire Red only, you can catch the Pokemon Gloom, the evolved form of Oddish. Gloom here can evolve into two separate Pokemon, with the Leaf Stone into Vileplume, and with the Sunstone, if you have the National Dex, into Bellossom. Gloom is a decent Pokemon. It doesn't have the best of stats, but it learns some decent moves. The next Pokemon, if you're playing Leaf Green only, is Weepinbell. Weepinbell, if you have a Leaf Stone, you can evolve it immediately into a Victory Bell. Weepinbell does not have the best moveset ever. You're gonna have to rely on TMs, just like I said with Bellsprout. But it does have some pretty decent stats to back it up. Okay, now as you get further north to routes 12 through 13, you'll find that there's a lot of water around, and as you get onto Route 12, you'll be able to pick up the Super Rod. Now, Pokemon that you can get by surfing and with the Good Rod and Super Rod are Tentacool. Tentacool is actually probably the most common Pokemon you'll find when you're surfing on the water, believe me. However, most people overlook it just because it's so annoying. They think it's another Zubat. But actually, when fully evolved, it's a very great special defender, and learns some pretty decent moves. For something so common, I really could not believe that it's so good. The next Pokemon that you can find here with the Good Rod is Horsey. Horsey is a pretty nice water type. When fully evolved, it becomes part dragon, however, you can't get that till the National Dex. Really, it's not too bad. I could actually recommend Horsey. It's one of those Pokemon that I've never used, but I've seen used, and really, it's a pretty decent attacker. Next Pokemon here is Krabby, which you can also get with the Good Rod. Krabby here is a physical water type, which in this generation really doesn't mix. But if you want to try it out for something original, by all means go ahead. Krabby is actually one of my more favorite water types of this generation. So, by all means, go ahead. And finally, when you get the Good Rod, you can finally get the awesome evolution to the pathetic Magikarp, Gyarados. Gyarados is a pretty decent special attacker and attacker. It can go both ways. Gyarados being water flying type is weak to electric, but it can pretty much stand its own in battle as long as it's not out against an electric type or a rock type, or grass types can do some decent damage to it too. Also, I should mention that as you get onto Route 12, you'll find another Snorlax. So if you didn't catch the one in Celadon City, now would be the time to catch that Snorlax. Okay, now that we're done with that, I say it's time that we finally move on here and, speed it up. So, I will meet you guys when we're back in Lavender Town and we can head into Saffron City without any problems. So, alright, see you guys in a bit. Let's let the music start. Okay guys, we made it. We are here in Saffron City, home of the next gym badge and a bunch of other stuff. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I have a lot to do off screen. I need to go catch the vast majority of the Pokemon in the Safari Zone, and I want to go defeat the vast majority of the trainers that were on those routes, because as you saw, I pretty much slipped past the majority of them. So, anyway, just a warning, maybe a bit of a delay between this episode and the next, just like there was probably a delay between the last episode and this one. That was because of massive editing reasons. And this is probably going to be because of massive off-screen time, because I have so much to do and I'd rather just get it all done at once and not have to worry about it later in the project. So, if you like this part, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if it wasn't that great of commentary and a little bit too much informational stuff, but next episode we got a lot of battles coming up if all goes well, so yeah. So next episode, we will probably head into this building and see what else we can do around Saffron City. So, until then, Slaying Spirit 78, signing out. Take care, have a great day, bye-bye.